Hey everyone, it's Emily, the Career Catalyst. I was speaking this week earlier in my blog about what to do if you have been in a job search for a long time and how frustrating it is to be hearing all of this stuff in the news about how there's the big quit and, there's all these jobs out there and so on and so forth. And so today, what I want to talk about is what do you do if you're kind of going through your application process and realize that you probably would benefit from a little bit of career help. How do you find someone to work with, and how do you know that you found the right person? There are tons of guides out there that you can find online. And what I would really encourage you to do is not to worry too much about kind of what some of those places are saying if it doesn't feel right. To me, the most important thing you can do for yourself as you think about getting help with your career is find a career professional that you feel you really kind of click with. Don't be tempted to go for the cheapest person that you can find, because that may be someone who's just not a good fit for you. Instead, find someone who does feel like a good fit for you. And then if you need to, ask about things like sliding fee scale or pro bono appointments. Most of us offer at least some of those each quarter. So don't worry initially about price. What you're going to want to do is just Google things like career counselor, career coach. Now, the difference there can be important depending on your needs. So a career counselor is typically someone who has a master's degree in counseling and does a lot of work around the mental health side of the process. Now, it's still someone who's going to give you resources, help you get connected with the places you need to, someone who can certainly help you with your resume and all of that kind of stuff, but does have that mental health background. A career coach is something that's much less solidified. There aren't any particular licensure requirements for a person to bill him or herself as a career coach. And there aren't any reporting structures for that. So anyone who's a career coach will probably reasonably be registered in their own state as someone who's operating without a license or whatever the heck it is. And you can ascertain the person's level of skill and training just by doing some things like asking what their experience is, checking out their website, that kind of thing. Some people do seek specific coaching certification. There are a number of places that certify coaches. Some of them certify all kinds of life coaches, and some of them only do career. So check out kind of what that person's credentials are if that's important to you. The other thing I really encourage people to ask is what kinds of clients the career specialist works with. If someone is kind of coming from a recruiting or HR background, that person can reasonably be expected to have a specialization area. So someone who recruited in aerospace, for instance, is going to have a lot of ties within aerospace and be able to hook people up with those connections. Whereas a generalist is, like me, is going to have kind of broad scope type tools and also be able to help with a lot more of the exploration work. Now, the third option out there is a career consultant. And much like with coaching, these are not necessarily people who have any particular kind of certification or licensure. Often, again, like coaches, will come out of particular industries. So what you're going to want to do is really check out the career professional's website and get a sense for their approach, see how what they're saying fits you, etc. If you would like someone local, you're going to hit Google because it's going to help figure out who's near you. But as things are right now, my guess is that a lot of us are probably going to be operating virtually. So location matters potentially less these days than it would ordinarily. So don't feel like you have to stick with someone local. We're all Zoom connected now, so there's a lot of options for you out there. Most career professionals will also offer you a free initial session. Those range in length. Mine are an hour long, but a lot of folks offer things that are more like 15 minutes, kind of a get to know you discussion. You're also going to want to know what the pacing of the sessions is going to be, and so you can ask questions around that. What's the first session like, etc. I tend to shy away from the kinds of career professionals who begin the conversation with the assessments because I feel like assessments while they can be super valuable and are really interesting, can feel a little bit like magic wand kind of stuff. And there's no magic wand for this process. So be a little bit wary of that. It's also going to increase your price a little bit if the person is starting right off with a career assessment. So just kind of food for thought there. And again, look for someone who kind of has a vibe that feels good to you, feels like your sort of person. You can get a lot of that info from the career websites. So please let me know in the chat if you have questions, but the main thing is just to know that there's actually a lot of information available out there. And so if you have been in your search for a year or longer and are starting to feel insanely frustrated with this whole process, there's all kinds of stuff available to help you guide you through this process. Let me know in the chat if you have any specific questions, and I am certainly happy to provide you with some links and some free resources, as well as some guides to finding career counselors. So hope that does some good for you. Hope it kicks your year off in a really nice direction. If you get a long weekend, have a good one, and I will see you all here next week.